Welcome back to WB & Sons. Our next auction, 25th of January, we're going to have a look at some of the 128 lots we have in for the start of 2025.
Starting with this Alfa Romeo 147 GTA. We've had a few of these through. They're normally relatively used, I think is the fair word. They got kind of used and abused, these things. Easily the best one we've ever had.
Yes.
Come from a bit of a quite passionate Alfa guy. Cleanest engine bay I've ever seen. Those stainless trumpets on them always corrode and go horrible, whereas these ones are beautiful. It's got the diff, so it actually goes round corners. Really, really cool car. Like 10 grand. You're not going to come close with a hot hatch for that sort of things. Anything is wide for sure, eh?
Yeah, incredibly pretty as well. Really, really pretty. Aged the right way, I think, these. Yeah. And like you say, really well looked after.
Yeah, sensible mileage. Really interesting car. I'm looking forward to seeing what that one does.
Yeah.
Moving up to something a bit older, a bit more traditional, classic.
Lovely Rover 3500. So it's the V8 in what I think is the best colour for these is the blue. Very nice straight car, automatic box, and it just sounds and runs really, really well, this one.
Yeah. Sort of circa 5 grand. I think we've got a 4 to 6 grand guide on it. It's a really cool car for that. It's pretty reliable. You can get everything for them. They're comfy.
They're again a good user. A really good usable classic these, like even every day. Yeah. They're perfect for sort of shop to show, aren't they?
I think for the same sort of guide price, V8, slightly less practical.
Still a V8, two-door coupe. We've got a nice Mercedes SLC here. Bodywork's okay on it. You know, again a good user. And this is the 450 V8, which I love. I think those engines are great.
There's a few bits and bobs to do to tidy it up, which is hence the guide price 4 to 6. It's nice and straight underneath. It's not rotten underneath. It's got some scabs here and there, but it's not horrific. Interior is very good. It's all there. It's complete.
Don't really see that many SLCs anymore. I know they were they are a bit Marmite because you know the 107, the roof comes off and they look a lot better. But I quite like them. I think again they've aged quite well.
If it was the SL 450 in this condition, double the price, absolutely. So that's an interesting one. Heading further up, we've got a pair of V8 Jags.
Sure you have.
2 different generations. You've got your sort of your more traditional one, and then the aluminium car. This one, actually I picked this one up, drove it back, drives beautifully. It's done some miles, 140,000 miles.
Well, I think they're both on about the same mileage. They're both on about 140, aren't they?
Yeah, about 140 each. This one's celebrity owned, which we'll get to in a second, but you know, for the money we've got on this, we've got circa £1,000, maybe 1,500 quid with the wind behind it. what else are you going to buy?
Yeah, before though, we've had plenty in it on 20,000 miles, and then loads of them on way over 100,000. I think they always drive better once they're a bit more used. They're a little bit softer, aren't they?
100%. And you know, they take the miles wear. The seat's got a little bit of wear on it.
Bodywork's really good on that one for the mileage, like rust-wise. Yeah. They're normally like hanging apart by now.
Yeah, and I know they've got a bad reputation, but actually this generation in particular, pretty bulletproof. We've never had one go wrong, have we? Touch wood.
I like them, good cars.
But yeah, we have the later car, the aluminium car, so you shouldn't have rust issues.
You do get a little bit of alley rash on them, which is pretty standard, but again, 2003, you forget how old these are. It's 20-year-old now. You forget that, and you expect you see them with a bit of blebs, and you think, oh, that's not been looked after. But actually, 20-year-old.
Do you know what makes it worse? It's 22-year-old.
There you go. Owned by our auctioneer Jim.
Yeah, he's had it for the last 60,000 miles. This is his car, hence the number plate.
That doesn't come with it.
No, but if you've seen Jim at any sale he goes to anywhere in the country, he's normally knocking about in his Jag. Time for him to move it on. You know, like I say, he's done 60,000 miles and he's looked after it really well. Very, very particular with his cars. His spec's ridiculous. Rear entertainment, rear blinds, everything in it, isn't it?
It's the gentleman's spec, isn't it?
Yeah, and more importantly, he's the one putting it over the rostrum, and he's decided it's selling. So
it's good.
Just stick your hand up. He'll sell it. I'm sure he will. Toby's a little bit in love with this camper van, which is why we've got it stuck on this studio up here.
Yeah. It's probably one of the cleanest ones we've had through here. Without a shadow doubt.
Californian import. Yep. It's on injection, so it's a 2-litre injection.
So it makes it very, very usable. It means it'll go up hills as well. Yeah. Because anyone knows T2s and welfares don't go up hills. The injections really, really helps. But the colour combo on this is phenomenal.
If you watch the walk-on video, if you get in the arches, It doesn't need anything, does it? It's ready to go camping.
They've always got something wrong. They've normally got a crack or a hole in the pop top. That's perfect. The interiors are marked. All the wood's good. I love the injection thing. I mean, we brought it back in the hole when we were setting up the other day at -4, and it started like that, didn't it? And drove up the ramp. Normally, you've got to give them a run up. You see them knocking about the lakes and stuff, and you just think, how are you getting about? Whereas that actually will do it. And at 10 to 14,000 pounds. 2 years ago that was 20 grand plus.
2 years ago that was project money. Not in that condition.
Right. Yeah, it is an all-rounder. Like I say, interiors mint, bodywork was lovely.
Wants a classic camper, just ready to go. You'll not find a better one.
No, really cool thing. Really cool. Complete other end of the spectrum. Massive gas guzzling V8 SUVs. Charlie, you love a P38.
Love a P38. Great cars. This is a 4.6. Which is, I prefer the 4.6, it's all personal opinion, in the best colour, with the best interior. It's been converted to coils again, the purest will whinge on. It is what it is on that.
To be fair, it's been done properly. There's no lights on, it sits correctly.
It drove 170 miles to us on Thursday, but I'm all over this. I think these are great buys as well, absolutely great cars.
£3,000. I mean, it's...
And you're into a Range Rover?
A nice
Then they drive beautifully.
18 miles per gallon.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's the later car, so it's the Thor.
Sorry, 20 miles per gallon.
Well, yeah, but they're more reliable. They've got new liners. They are generally they were pretty sorted by this point.
This one's straight enough as well. There's a few little marks here and there, but it doesn't want paint. It doesn't want messing around with.
No alley rash on the tail.
No.
Headlining's not sagging, is it?
A little bit sag eye.
That's normal.
But so usable. And I think, again, I've said it already, the start to look good on the road. If you see a nice P38 coming down the motorway, you notice it from a while. I always notice them from, actually, if I see a rough P38, I see it. But they do look good on the road now. They've got some presence, I really like them.
I'm hoping someone with a bit of taste comes and bids on it, because otherwise you'll have it and you'll put like a little gold bulldog here, horseshoe on the grill. He puts his Barbara on.
He's going to paint it yellow with a black roof and get cake on the plate. I don't know why.
He puts his Barbara on and pretends like he's a gentleman farmer.
You can't wear wax coat in the car with leather. It knacks the leather. They know nothing, Dad, do they?
I was going to say, more suited to Charlie is the infamous...
This is a properly cool car. This.
Yeah. So it's a BMW X5M. So it's the 4.4 twin turbo V8
monster.
Yeah.
It's basically the M5 in an X5.
If you like your neighbours, don't buy this car. The cold startup on it is unbelievable.
Do you know what's even more stupid, right? They're 550 or
55, I think.
But you can downpipe and a tune, that's it. So literally an email and they're 700 horsepower.
And it's way below 10 grand.
Doesn't need it. Exactly, you're buying an M car. What we got on this? 708? 708. You're buying diesel ones for that.
Yeah.
And it's got a button on the dash that says M, and you press it, it goes even more mental.
If you compare it to this, so this is the same as the equivalent F10 M5, and they're rear-wheel drive only. They're very spiky. You can get away with it in this. You can actually put
the colour on this one. It is the infamous X5M blue. Astral blue.
It's got every bit of spec on it. Electric tailgate, heads-up display. It's 7 to 8 grand. It's a comfy and cool way to lose your license, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. And you get there fast.
Exactly. Nice pair of sports cars just before the summer eventually kicks in.
There's an MGF, that's over there.
Not an MGF. It's hard to believe it, it's -2 right now, even though you've got a t-shirt on, which is weird, and a hat that doesn't cover your ears. But summer is going to turn up eventually, and if you're going to buy one, you buy it when it's cold, don't you? You sell 4x4s in the winter, buy convertibles in the winter. Yeah,
TVR 290S, so it's a 2.9 V6 this one. Again, sounds mint.
They sound like V8.
They do, they're great looking. I think these really come round as well. Really good looking cars. Blue on blue, with the grey interior. Maybe a little bit of work on the driver's seat there, but apart from that, you just leave it as it is and cruise around in it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, those early cars are pretty much bulletproof as well, to be fair. You can get everything from Burton for those engines. They're fiberglass. Keep an eye on the outriggers. These ones have got nice outriggers on this one. But other than that, you can pretty much do everything else yourself. It's not like the later cars where it's passenger wheel out to get to the battery. No.
Scary as they are now, but no, I think it's a nice, honest thing, ready for some summer fun.
But if you want something similar and never have to touch it, never have to do any work, Toby, you're a bit of a fan of these. GT, like you said earlier on.
So it comes with the hard top, which is good, so you can use it all year round. This one's really, really nice because it actually had a new hood a couple of years ago, but they've gone for a red hood,
It's got red,
which goes, which just makes it pop. Looks really, really well.
Yeah.
And again, bulletproof these S2000s. You can use them, you can have fun in them, and they love to be revved, don't they?
The only thing, the only car that we've had through that haven't really, they never really came all the way down in price. They sort of levelled off at about 12 grand, didn't they?
I don't think it's peaked yet either.
No, and I agree with you there. I completely agree. I think, and again, 8-9 grand these days, like everything else, it's a little bit down. But
It's nice first-gen Boxster money. You see a lot less of these. It's probably as fun to drive. You've just got to rev them. It's as simple as that.
Exactly that, yeah. Really cool car.
But again, a little bit more money, not a huge amount more. Gets you a 928, which to me that is insane. How is that possible? It's a V8 transaxle Porsche.
Automatic like they always are.
Yeah.
This has got one of the best interiors we've had on any transaxle Porsche, the 944s, the 924s. The interiors are always knackered on them.
Yeah.
No, and even at the prices we've seen them, they always wear bad. The interior on this is absolutely lovely. The back seats are like new, the front seats are gorgeous. The electric seat on the drivers, I was playing with that the other day. Everything works on that. They never work, ever.
Why are we playing with it?
He comes up and tells me random things. Oh, you'll never guess this works. Well done.
They never work. The seat never works.
Every one you see is over 100,000 miles. This one's on what, 48,000 miles? The interior alone tells you that's correct. And for the sort
automatic, I think it's an absolute cruiser, and again, such a great daily driver. You don't really see many of them either.
no, and the manuals are so rare, it's almost not worth counting.
Yeah, I really like that.
But if you need a manual Porsche,
I'll stick with that's for me, that one. I think this is insane value for money, and I don't think anyone can disagree with us, can you?
no, I mean we're gonna get some grief in the comments because we're gonna talk about the dreaded Bore score. Exactly. I mean, it's 996 is IMS and this is Bore score, isn't it? Well, yeah, but I mean, ultimately the story with the car is simple, isn't it? Like the guy came to us just before Christmas and said, "Look, I want to sell my car. I'd had it sold to somebody else, but he asked for a Bore score inspection, which is normal. People do that on a 997, and it's gone to a specialist who we know, and it's come back with minor. I mean, we've got a picture of it. Really minor Bore score on cylinder 6. No symptoms at all. So your symptoms are smoke, rattles, using oil." Black suit in the thing. It's genuinely got none of that. If he hadn't mentioned it, you wouldn't know. But we're not the sort of people that are just going to stick it through and say anything. So it's here.
But again, it's a 997 cab in black, manual on 44,000 miles, and we've got a guide on it at what? I forgot again.
Yeah, check there. Did you see that?
12 to 18, right?
So we're talking mid-teens. If this car in that mileage with a clean report is 25 grand.
It's with the report we've seen, and like you say, the symptoms. Personally, I wouldn't get it done. I would drive it. They all get the dreaded Bore score at some point.
You know for a fine fact, a lot of places that bit of paperwork would have gone missing by now.
Yeah.
The car would be in here at that price.
Well, they would have took the cheap reserve and they would have said no and watched it do 20 and just left it go. However, the general advice, and I'm sure there's going to be some disagreement in the comments, but the general advice is just drive the bloody car. Because what's the worst that could happen? You need an engine rebuild. It needs that anyway.
That guide price though, you're factoring in for an engine rebuild.
Well, even at a 10 grand rebuild, you're still paying. You're still getting you're going to get a rebuild. The car's still worth, in our eyes, 25 grand with a rebuild on it anyway. That's what the car's going to start.
It's probably worth slightly more with the rebuild, I would say.
And the mileage.
And look at this way, it is a cheap way into a 997 cab. Yeah. Like you say, regardless whether it's tapping or doing this, which is nothing, it needs a rebuild, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And at that point, if you really, really love the car and you want to keep it, maybe send it to Hartech and get a bit more power out of it. Bore it out a little bit and make it a bit louder and a bit more gnarly, but normally they're scruffy. This car is stone dead mint. It just has that issue. For me, absolute bargain. Slightly more classic sports cars for you to choose from.
Yes, we have a lovely Mark IV Triumph, 1973 Triumph Spitfire here in red. Again, nice and shiny. This has just had an engine in from Iversur, hasn't it? So it's had a replacement Iversur engine in it. Yeah. I believe still under warranty.
Yeah, I believe so.
12-month warranty.
So there's the money there. Look at the guide price on the car. Go to the Iversur website, have a look at the price of an engine. There's your money.
What sort of money are they charging for engines these days?
I think it's 2 or 2.5 with surcharges and stuff like that. Then you've got the fit, and then you've got everything else on that. But it's not that. You've been, have you? I don't know. Jim's been under this car.
There's not a drop of underseal on it.
No.
And it's like, well, look, check on it.
On top is as good as underneath.
I'd say it's better. Look on the listing.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a few blebs around it, but I'm into this. I think
it's fine.
The engine's been done. What more do you want? The roof's nice. Roof comes down and away you go. Happy days.
But then it's a bit of a tough sell, isn't it? Because you've got the alternative. MG Roadster in one of my favourite colours, wires. That is one of the cleanest engine bays I've ever seen.
Yes, engine bay is great on that. Again, look at the walk around video on that. Both very, very sensibly priced, especially in the market. You know, it's the start of a new year. There's money around. It's just personal opinion on what you go for, isn't it?
See, but what you'd really do is if you want a little sports car convertible, you sack both of them off.
Oh, it's James found the mini.
And you buy lot number 1. But we all agree that this is a cool car.
James, on this one, you know how I feel about minis. This is one of the nicest one. I love it. Great.
I pulled out the hole yesterday, pulled it back in, and started up on the button after it hadn't been ran for a while. Runs and absolutely idles lovely for a mini. It's a carburettor car, but it's
a very late one, so it's a 1275 car, which is a nice engine. It's got the bigger wheels than the Archers. It's British Racing Green. I really like the open air on these because it's a mini. It doesn't.
You can fit in it and your head pops out a little bit.
Well, like people whinge about Webasto's, but I actually generally quite like them. It's electric. It's supposed to replicate like Wimbledon's roof, isn't it? That's why they call it British Open Classic. But it's green with red leather and shiny wheels. Lovely manual gearbox in it. What more could you want for 7 or 8 grand? That was a 15 grand car 2 years ago.
But again, it wants for nothing.
No.
Enjoyed use.
It looks like a 15 grand car. Even now, you know, we don't know what it's going to do. But if you saw it, it still looks 15 grand, and you wouldn't be upset at that anyway, would you?
No, definitely not. Really, really like that one. This one's completely different, entirely different.
Standard, isn't it?
Totally standard Beetle, yeah.
No. This car's had some money spent on it, hasn't it?
Absolute fortune. So it started life as a 1.6 Beetle back in 2003 or 2002.
352, I think.
Yeah, so it's 03.
But quite a rare colour, to be fair. That's a factory colour.
Very nice colour, factory colour. And then it went into the hands of somebody that's took it to where it is now. So it's been fully modified with air ride suspension, lovely. Are they I can't say it, but Fuke wheels. It's got R32 front
body coloured. No, to be fair, they've got their fitment bang on.
The attention detail on this car throughout when they've been doing it is phenomenal. It's got R32 seats that have been retrimmed with green leather and
sort of like a Harris Tweed.
Like a Harris Tweed. Door cards and rear seats to match.
The heated seats still work.
Yeah, they do.
Great.
I sat in there yesterday and warmed myself up.
Boot build, install, have a look at the video again on that one. But again, the money on this is like the interior and a set of wheels. That's
we've seen a few things like this, haven't we? And normally they'll slap the seats in, but they're normally from a worn out R32. Yeah. It would then have an airbag light on. The heated seats definitely wouldn't work normally. They wouldn't bother with proper management. They'd be on valves, whereas this has like ride height, drop height. It controls
and individual control on this.
Yeah.
Which we've got 2 to 3 grand on it. That system now to buy for this car is more than 2 to 3 grand.
I think if you bought a set of R32 wingbacks and took them to a trimmers, I think that's 2 grand.
Yeah.
So, and what I do like about it is it's a 1600 Beetle, so if you're quite young,
you're getting insured on it.
I think your insurance wouldn't be an issue. Declare your mods, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble. But
the whole max power thing's on its way back up, and this was the stage after, so at some point it's a sort of a fashion, isn't it?
And it fits in here because it's got a hand-painted pinstripe, like a Rolls Royce.
First car, really, isn't it?
Or you could go for a car with factory ride heights.
So no mods needed.
No mods needed.
Citroen BX16 here, so factory hydroelastic suspension, and it goes up and down nice and quick, doesn't it?
Doesn't do the old squiggly.
No, but you've got it all the way down just because it looks better. But actually, it works really nice. Engine's good on it. Again, interior is like new in the interior. Normally, I'm all over this. W124 3.2 petrol, the best engine in these. Late car, nice interior, Jack import, no rust on it. But for some reason,
it's because you're maturing in your taste. The Mercs are always going to be cool, but you don't see them.
No, it's not that. It's got cloth interior, so you can wear his waxwork cut.
His waxwork cut.
Or whatever it is, wax bar.
It's because it's one spoke steering wheel that goes up and down, and they're normally scruffy as hell. That's a really nice car.
Yeah. Some of these though, There's plenty. What I like about these 124s, there's loads of rough ones around because they just don't give up. They just crack on and keep going. You can get them on 300,000 miles with no arches on them.
You go on holiday, don't you, and you jump in a taxi that's done 1,000,000 miles on one of these. It's
Ideal
fine.
African taxi car, isn't it?
Yeah.
All over that. That's a really, really cool car. Lovely leather seats in that one. Factory dog guard.
Seats. It's got the terrifying death seats in the back. But every option.
320, it's the right engine. They're normally 200s or diesels, but I love that straight six.
With big family estate cars.
Austin 7.
Yeah, with the Traveller.
We all love an Austin 7. All love an Austin 7. Comes with a trailer, this one. The guy's been towing it.
It's got an aluminium trailer.
Yeah, I noticed it was perfect fit.
It was made for the car. What he was doing was towing this to the show with his P4 Rover and then tootling around the show in this, which kind of makes sense because it's about the size of like buggies you see people rolling around in anyway. Normally with those sort of things, those trailers are awful, but to be fair, he had two cars. We picked one up with the truck and towed the other one back on the trailer. It towed beautifully, didn't bounce, didn't snake. Well, that's what I was worried about. I thought it was going to be awful, but it's just well balanced. It's a lovely trailer, and the car, I mean, the car's got a little bit of patina, but that's how I like an Austin 7. I hate a blinged up, polished up one.
I understand what you say about this, but the interior on this one's really, really nice. Good colour combos. The fabric roof itself is again nice and taut. No rips or tears in that, is there?
Yeah, engine's lovely. I mean, he hadn't started it since August.
We put some fuel in it.
And it literally first revolution fired up, didn't it?
Straight up, drove straight in the hole, no problems at all.
We love them because there's.
Oh, great. Oh, they are great.
To be fair, I just wish I could fit in one
We've had
properly.
this conversation before, no matter who you are, what you do, if you're at the show with an Austin 7, someone will come and talk to you.
Yeah. If you don't like one, you're just a miserable person, you're going to have to move on. Speaking of taste, there's 3 makes here that we need to talk about. I think maybe we take one each.
I'll take the V8.
There's 2.
I'll take the Pro V8.
Right, okay. I'm going to take the most Bobby Basic one because I reckon I can argue the case.
Go on.
S55 AMG, which is, the spec on it is ridiculous. It's got rear electric cooled seats and everything for $5.5 grand, which is absurd.
CL 500, again,
Same sort of money.
48,000 miles. On coilover suspension, if you go on the forums, if you search Mercedes CL problems, they always come up with the suspension. We've never had one in yet that hasn't had the suspension on it, but being converted to the coilover suspension, the ABC struts are still in the blue, and it does ride really, really well. It looks mint, black with a grey, can't complain. We all love a CL because they're just so cool.
Or, for half the money, a late C200. It is manual, which I quite like. This thing's done 46,000 miles. It's still got the plastic wrappers on the sills. It's stone dead mint. You just don't see them. These were the cheap makes that were just driven to death.
Again, we've had this conversation on a couple of cars. Because it's mint, we're all over it, because they never are. They just never are. It was the cheap Mercedes Benz, wasn't it? After took over from the 190 again, which was a cheap car. You don't see them like this ever.
It's a nice example of a normal car. A lovely colour, big paperwork, low owners. I think it's 1 or 2 owners. It's just a nice thing.
Looks, and with the mileage, it's going to sound weird, but it looks like a 2-year-old used car.
Yeah.
Not the age it is.
It's like it's one of the lowest ones, newest ones you're going to find in condition wise.
Somebody that wants a good, reliable make, low mileage,
For no,
they're not going to buy one on a 20 plate because that's better.
100%. But it's the price. It's the price of the luxury tax on your new C-Class VED.
I think you won because you went, I'm going to pick this one, and we've all just got to see how good that car is.
it's because we've seen this before. We've seen those before. We do love them.
AMG. I love a CL, but that's just, it's quite special.
Right, isn't it?
Last car I think we'll talk about. Charlie's going to get really excited, so we might need to censor him a little bit. But in fairness, this is a rare car.
It's a very, very rare car. Lot number 8 in our sale is the MGF. Automatic, this car. We've actually had one before many years ago. It was an auto, and it's in your head. You think that's awful, but they're really not.
But you've never stopped talking about that car.
Because because you know, we sell some quirky things in here, and we get good money for different things. This is one of those cars that if you've got a manual, look at our sort of clientele age in the classic car world. you know, a lot of these guys come in, they're swapping for autos because of that fact that it's easier to drive.
You're saying an MGF's an old man's car?
You know, the man with the BGT that can't drive it anymore. This is the best thing for them to replace it with.
I'd drive, you know, for a fine fact, I would buy that car and happily drive around it every single day.
In fairness, this is the first one I've driven, and actually that gearbox is really nice.
It doesn't have clunky changes like you expected it. It's just
Nice. It's the same box as in like later minis and stuff. It's a nice box, but it's actually attached to a really nice example of an MGF. Lovely dark. It's British racing green, isn't it?
Yeah.
Metallic. The two-tone brown 5-bar seat.
Coffee and cream interior, all over it, and it's an F. I prefer an F to a TF, but
For 2 to 3 grand, it's a lovely car.
it's super value, and it's an all-rounder, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to pretty much end there. It's a bit of a shorter video today. We have seen in the comments that there's some comments about audio. We are working on it. It is going to get better. It's something we're going to focus on this year. We've got 8 sales this year, the first one being on the 25th of January. 128 lots in the sale. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.